Hello, welcome to Garden Chronicles. My name is James David, and today I would like to talk about how to regenerate an overspent flowering plant, particularly this Rangoon Creeper Vine. This particular plant has finished its blooming season and all the flowers has dried and fallen off. Another factor is that this plant had a spider mite attack. As you can see, the leaves are actually badly infected, and it will take a lot of pesticide to use to eradicate these mites. But I have a different method which I like to show to you how I get it done. Another thing that I've noticed is that there are some new flower buds and new shoots appearing here and there along the main vine, and this is also creating a kind of a situation where it will sort of like there is something of a new growth on a very old plant, and this is what I would like to show to you on how I tackle this situation. So stick with me and I will share to you my tips on how to reset and regenerate this particular plant into a stronger new blooming vine. Coming back to my main topic on how to get them in full bloom flowers, my one and only step is to heavily prune this Rangoon Creeper Vine. The first and foremost important thing to do is to identify the main vine, which is actually a very mature trunk, and trim off the rest of all the vines, the shrub, the spent flower stem, everything except the main vine. This is very important because new shoots are actually going to appear from this point. So make sure you don't trim off the main vine, the trunk, because if you were to do so, the plant is going to spend a lot of its energy to grow back all over again. So keeping the main vine is one of the most essential things, and not to trim that off. Here I want to show to you the characteristics of the main vine, considering as the tree trunk or the trunk of the plant, and you can actually show as shown here. If you notice, the stem or the trunk appears to be a little bit more like a filament kind of a structure, where there's a lot of layers and sort of like a bark that is available, and at times you will also notice that there will be slight appearance of this sort of like this thorny kind of spikes that appears on this trunk. You can choose to trim that off if in case that you accidentally brush yourself and harm yourself, but if it's against your harm's way, you can just leave it as it is. And this is what I just want to show to you, the thing that is considered as the main vine. Of course, this trunk is not easily trimmed off. Most probably you have to use a saw to actually cut it down, but however, after trimming it, you can actually see that about in a week's time, new shoots has begun to appear. I must say that in the beginning it is quite difficult. One has to be taking a lot of courage, especially new beginners, and a lot of determination to really feel that whether you need to trim down the plant. But however, I believe that once that is done, this particular plant you actually give a lot of help for this particular plant to grow rigorously, and the blooming will be very much in uniform. The other factor here is that this Rangoon Creeper Vine does have a wild side where it may not able to grow properly when it's not pruned, because new vines is going to appear on top of the existing vine, and they're going to overlap and it's going to create a lot of stress for the plant, and it will going to, how do you say, discount the element of giving more blooms, rather than the plant will focus itself in growing more vines and leaves, and so you will have less flowers. So trimming and pruning this particular plant actually helps a lot, and once the trimming is done, the plant can actually focus first on its growth factor, and once the growth factor has taken place to its optimum level, the vine will actually focus more fervently on the element of its blooming cycle. Once the new shoot has begun, the element of its growth appears to be very fast, so you don't really have to worry about it once the new shoots begin to appear. You can choose not to prune any of the new shoots, because this is where the plant will require itself to start blooming. The element that I want to discourage here is not to prune at this level, because once you do so, they may tend to become dormant and may slow down the growth, the blooming cycle. So just observe, and one of the factors here is that once this fully been pruned, you will also notice that there is no attack, especially like the spider mites or aphids or any of this kind of thing, because the plant is in full bloom, and it's in its vigorous growth. You will find that it has already created an element where it has a very strong immune system, where there is no pest attack. And you can see now this is close to the 3rd week after the pruning, and small flower buds are already in appearance. And you must understand that this is actually the very primary part of it, where the small tiny buds will actually turn into a bigger and stronger flower cascading effects on the flower vines. I must emphasize to mention to you that I have not actually used any fertilizer on them. This particular plant is actually very self-sufficient and is able to handle it very well. Occasionally, I would actually observe the thing to make sure that it does not wither away due to a very hot and humid climate. But other than that, I think this plant is actually self-sufficient. I do water it in most cases once a day, but other than that, this particular plant is actually doing very well on its own. I have actually come to a conclusion in my video. You can actually see 2 of my earlier videos on this particular Rangoon Creeper Vine, where it has actually fully bloomed, and all of my other topics and tips and how to care and cultivate this plant is actually in those 2 videos, and I will actually link those video link in this particular video. Other than that, I think this is the thing that I want to mention to you. The easy step here is where heavy pruning is one of the main key factor for them to bloom. One thing that I want to mention to you about pruning cycles is that you can actually prune them 4 times in a year. So do keep in mind that after pruning, it takes about 4 months until the whole plant has regenerated from young plant buds to full bloom. Finally, I have come to my conclusion of my video. If you have any questions, do put them in a comment below, and I'll try my best to answer them to my best ability. I would really appreciate if you can click like and subscribe to my channel, and I hope that you have enjoyed my video here. Hope to catch you soon, and have a nice day. Happy gardening. Take care. Bye.